Wow, you guys, I've been meaning to share this experience with you for so long, but the summer has gotten so crazy. I have been rebranding my business. If you didn't know, I share a lot about it in my most recent video. So the last two videos were more about my story and the journey of my business and how I got here, and then revealing the rebrand and talking a little bit about what this next chapter looks like. So if you want to check it out, you can check out the video here. But anyways, this video is from early June when my cousins were visiting, and we had the opportunity to go to a local alpaca farm as well as a local wool mill that also had a small yarn store. And it was so cool to kind of see this other side of the fiber arts industry. I mean, I have been using yarn for my business for so long, but I've never actually gotten to see the process of making the yarn. So it was amazing that we actually have these two companies so close, and they're small family-run businesses. I also bought some yarn from them, but for now I want to take you on that journey, and then I will show you all of the yarn at the end of the video. So excited! An alpaca farm. Look at them. We alternate putting the girls and the boys out because we don't want to have any loose babies. Yeah. Baby. I mean, our whole purpose is for improving the fiber that we have. So, yeah. After we got to see the alpacas, John and Laura showed us part of the yarn making process, and it was such a cool experience to see this. And as someone who works with yarn every day for my business, I've never actually gotten to see this side of the fiber arts industry. And people often ask, like, why do you love wool so much and natural fibers? And I just think the whole process of it is so cool, and there's such a deep tradition with the process of creating yarn. And like, you know, I'm knitting and also doing a craft that's hand done and stems from tradition, but the whole process going from the fiber to, you know, farming the alpacas to shearing them and then making the yarn is artisanal in itself. So even though in my business I don't use hand spun yarn, the companies that I do source from are small family run businesses, and they actually have their own flock of sheep and ensure ethical practices of raising the sheep, shearing them, as well as eco-friendly practices in their dyeing and processing process. So they dye the yarn in small batches by hand and then minimize the use of water in the method that they use to dye. They also use biodegradable dyes, so all of the hats that you buy from me are technically biodegradable. And overall, the yarn itself is a work of art, and then I get to use that and for my craft and turn it into something for you to wear. So it's just very exciting. I don't know if you can tell how excited I am. But next we got to see a little bit of the process of turning the actual alpaca fiber into the yarn. And that just helps the carding machine work a little bit better. And pulling it off. That'll be good now. So I would go around the whole thing, but then I would have that. Wow. So from this, I would then probably want to do it again. Yeah, and then it just and then it just kind of sits right there, and it's just gonna go in, and then it'll take it and. I don't want to get sucked into it. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna start taking it, and then it's gonna go push it back. Cool. So. It's quite the mesmerizing process. That's so cool. it's like all of this kind of thing when you know, even when you're winding yarn into cakes and
yeah.
stuff.
I know, I just sit there and I was like,
I forgot to show you my alpaca sticker. I made these as one of my first round of stickers, but I thought it was appropriate. So I did buy a couple skeins of yarn. I'm so excited to show you these yarns and share a little bit about what I'm planning to make with them. But next we got to go to a wool mill, and it also had a little yarn store, so I'll show you all the yarn at the end. Wow, what a great day. So we just finished at the alpaca farm and I bought a couple of skeins. I'm gonna show you later. But now, just up the road, there's actually a fiber mill and they raise their own sheep, spin their own yarn, and dye their wool. And we are here and it is so cool. Wow, I have worked with yarn for so long, I've actually never been to a mill like this. So we just learned so much, and it's just a small family-run operation. This mill is about an hour and a half away from where I live, and I can't believe I've never come out here before, so this was super special. What a treat. My cousin's here visiting, so I thought I'd bring them around and show them stuff nearby and things that I wanted to see too, so this has been great.
so we get Romney, CBM, BFL, Formo, and Merino, and Cordell too. We have Cordell in there also.
Cool.
Oh, I love
filmmaking. Look at our little friend here. Hi. What a very special experience. So I have been chatting with Lorraine, who owns the Yuba Valley Fiberworks, over the internet for I think a couple of years now, but she had purchased one of my patterns, the Stay Wild beanie, and had knit up a sample and didn't even realize that I lived in Steamboat, so we're just a couple towns over. But it was really amazing to finally get here to meet her and her husband and to tour the mill. Those both so special? seriously, like a huge thanks to John and Laura who had the alpaca farm and the yarn company, and then a huge thanks to Louis and Lorraine who had the wool mill. And I kind of shared this in the video, but Lorraine and I have been chatting via the internet for so long. She actually sells some of my patterns at the yarn store and has a knit night, and so the ladies all gather there and they use my patterns. So it was really cool to finally meet her in person and to actually give her a hug. And I'm really excited to use some of this yarn. I might even design something special to use with this yarn. But okay, I think the moment you've all been waiting for is a little bit of my yarn haul. So I got these 3 skeins from the Alpaca farm, and she does hand spin all of these from their fibers, and all of them are also the natural color. But I bought 3 skeins of this 100% alpaca yarn. It's a DK weight and the color is fawn. I never knit with a DK weight. I just am afraid of tiny needles, but this yarn felt really special, and so I might make myself like a shawl or like a sweater. I don't know if I have enough for a sweater, but she was like, you can always order more if you run out. So that I think is the project I'm gonna do with this. It's super, super soft. And I know that alpaca doesn't hold its shape the same way that wool does. So I think if I do make a sweater, I could block it bigger for it to fit me. But anyway, so that is from the Alpaca farm, and I'll link the shops below as well. And then the next yarn I got, this was kind of one of their messed up skeins, but I was like, I would love to check it out. It has a little bit of a thick thin quality to it, and she was just like, it's hand spun, so she's usually pretty precise, but she was like, this one just had a few lumps in it, but I was like, that makes it special. So this was just the bare white kind of creamy colored yarn, and so I don't know what I'll make with this either. I might do some sort of a hat or a really cozy cowl, but I just wanted to play around with it. These skeins definitely are more on the pricey side. They're like $32 a skein, so I don't know if I'll be selling anything I make with these, but they'll just be special things that I make either for myself or as gifts for like my mom or something. So the next skeins I got are all from Yampa Valley Fiberworks, which is the wool mill. So at the wool mill, they actually get wool from all across the country for them to process and then send back to these farms, but they themselves have their own sheep that they spin into yarn, and so from their own sheep they sell all of that yarn at their yarn store. So the first one I got is this really beautiful kind of teal turquoise. It is 100% wool and it is a worsted weight, so I thought that was really fun. It is a double ply, and I think it would be cool to maybe try the Stay Wild beanie pattern with, so I might make one of those. And then the next one I got, this one is also 100% wool. It's kind of like a pumpkin burnt orange color, and this is a chunky weight. So I've been trying to update the Stay Wild beanie with a chunky weight as well. It currently comes in an Aran weight, so I'm going to work on that and then see if I can make one with this. And then the next one I got, also a chunky weight. This is part wool, part alpaca, and it's kind of like really nice foresty green. It's also a double ply, and it's really soft. So I'll play around with this as well. And then this one, this was a new yarn that they were playing with, and it's a single ply, which is what I like to work with quite a bit. I just love the look of a single ply yarn, and it does have a little bit of thick thin. This is kind of like a heather stone gray, but this one is also a bulky weight, and it's 100% wool. And because it's a new yarn that they have, I was talking with Lorraine about possibly doing a collaboration on a design for the shop. So stay tuned for that and we'll see how that goes. But I'm so excited to try these yarns and share with you what I make. If you're curious, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned.